Mr. Robinson is chairman of Urban Design Associates based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His firm offers urban design and architectural services. Mr. Robinson is here to testify on behalf of the American Institute of Architects. Founded in 1857, the AIA is the leading professional membership association for licensed architects. Welcome, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you very much, Chairman Altmeyer, Ranking Member Fallon, and Congressman Schuster. I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you to discuss the transportation policy and its impact on small businesses. At Urban Design Associates, when we were founded in 1964, we've spent our lives designing cities, towns, and neighborhoods as vibrant places for people to live, work, and play there. Through our projects, we see how transportation systems connect people to jobs, connect people to opportunities, and to each other to create livable, sustainable, and prosperous places. I'm also pleased to represent the American Institute of Architects because the AIA is comprised of more than 83,000 licensed architects in training, and allied professionals who are committed to the planning and design of safe and sustainable buildings and communities. Today, thousands of AIA architects are involved in designing transportation systems, transit facilities, roadway amenities, and master plans that don't just foster mobility and access, but also create sustainable, smart communities. Many of those architects work for small firms like my own, and many are sole practitioners. In fact, 96% of U.S. architecture firms have 50 or fewer employees, and those firms account for nearly 6 in 10 of the workers who are employed by architecture companies nationwide. It's small design firms like ours that drive prosperity in our communities. We're in multiple places, almost always locally, working for communities we know well. However, the current economic crisis has devastated much of the architecture profession. There's no secret about that. Every architect I know has seen layoffs and cutbacks in his or her firms. Smaller firms are particularly harder hit. The challenges our nation faces are not just confined to the economy. The fragile state of infrastructure in many of our communities is challenging our ability to recover and prosper. This is why we think it's vital for Congress to pass the comprehensive legislation this year rather than waiting for some point in the future. The Surface Transportation Authorization Act couldn't come at a better time. It recognizes what we know as architects so well, that well-planned and designed transportation projects create prosperous, sustainable, and livable communities. This legislation will rebuild our infrastructure. It will reduce congestion and lower greenhouse gas emissions. Most importantly, it will create jobs. Jobs for architects and planners, engineers, builders, operators, maintenance personnel, suppliers. It is a huge interrelated network dependent on the transportation improvements. At a time when unemployment is nearing 10%, it makes no sense for us to delay legislation that will create so many well-paying jobs across many spectrums of the economy. The impact of the bill on job creation is not limited to direct employment either. Its benefits to the small business community will be significant. First, well-designed transportation projects create attractive and accessible business districts where small businesses can flourish, and this is particularly true in older historic main streets and central business districts. And in Pennsylvania, we've got many of those conditions all linked together and make for a stronger regional economy. Second, a 21st century transportation system will help people live near where they work. And that will grow the talent pool for small businesses and reduce dependency on fossil fuels and long commutes. Third, a 21st century transportation system will reduce congestion, pollution, and improve the safety and reliability of the transportation network. As you mentioned earlier, every minute stuck in traffic, every axle damaged by potholes is money off the bottom line. Small businesses with thinner profit margins and tighter cash flows can't really depend on an unreliable transportation system. For those reasons, we think that Congress simply cannot wait another 18 months or longer to pass a transportation bill. It must act now. In my written statement to you, I've made recommendations to ensure the bill helps small architecture firms plan and design transportations that will strengthen our country, and I'll summarize those briefly. The legislation should provide ample opportunities for small businesses to take part in the design and construction of new transportation infrastructure, including the design of transit and intermodal facilities, which has really a direct impact on multipliers in towns and cities. The legislation should ensure that small firms have a chance to compete for and win contracts. And the legislation should preserve provisions in current law that require funds to be awarded to architecture and engineering firms through qualifications-based selection. QBS ensures that architects and engineers who design public projects are the most qualified to perform the work. We appreciate the opportunity to provide testimony on this important issue, and I'm happy to answer any questions after the testimony here. Thanks.